Well, hello. My name is Elizabeth, and I am here to share with you some alternative projects today featuring the April paper pumpkin kit called Lakeside Retreat. So, as soon as I see somebody pop on, I will officially begin. But in the meantime, I am excited to stamp with this Lakeside Retreat paper pumpkin kit because I love the way that it coordinates, and I'm going to actually say matches, the Waterside Retreat. Whoa, that's hard to say. The Waterside Retreat Suite Collection in the brand new catalog that just launched 2 days ago. All right, so I have some people on, just 3 of you, but you are my rock stars. I love it. Glad that you are here. Please leave some comments. As you know, sometimes it takes a while for them to populate and for me to see them, but I hope to see them sooner than I did last time. Oh, Kayleen is watching. Hello. There's one of my besties. Oh, and a comment. It's showing up rather than showing up an hour in. All right, so I have quite a bit planned today, but since we have some people here and Kayleen has given us our first official comment of the day, and yes, I agree, it is a great paper pumpkin kit. And like I was saying a minute ago, I love the coordination. Anyhow, we can officially begin with good Thursday morning and welcome to Upstyle Your Paper Pumpkin. My name's Elizabeth Price, and this is Seeing Ink Spots, my business page. Did you know I have Seeing Ink Spots Backstage Pass? That is where I have a whole lot more going on. And you are all invited to join me there. All you have to do is sign up for one of my classes and you're in. How easy is that? Hello, Jan. Good morning to you. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. All right, I'm gonna flip my camera and we're gonna get on with the fun stuff for today. And that is just a wee bit of business and then a whole lot of stamping. So here we go. Here comes the hand. I know, it's your favorite part. Someone should read my poem. Okay, let's see here. Let's just switch that. Okay. Rose Carey says, you love the Backstage Pass. Good. I'm glad you do. Glad you do. And it's fun to see what other people do. I'm just trying to stretch this out a little bit. Get my camera in just the right configuration here. Hold on. I'm having some issues. It's wanting to kind of collapse on me. We can't have that, right? There we go. All righty. So let's see. I feel like we are really keystoned here, folks, which means that it's crooked and we're getting some funky angles. We don't want funky angles. We want to see things straight. All right. So coming up, I am super jazzed for this class this month. So, and this is how you can join the Backstage Pass, is that you join the class, whether you earn it with a purchase, which I've had several people already earn it in just the last few days, or you can purchase it. So, or you can purchase a kit to be shipped to your door, or you can purchase the PDF. Any of those versions will get you into the Backstage Pass. Anyhow, this class is going to be pretty. I want you to think secret garden and lush and really, really just inviting and cool. We're going to be mixing this with the velvet paper that comes in 3 colors. There's the Peaceful Pine, Bubble Bath, and White. And we're going to change those all up to be different colors. We're actually going to stamp with the velvet paper and stamp on it. So I did say with and on. It's going to be a cool class. So this month for May, we're going to have Moonlit Flora join me for this technique class. It really will be a good one. Register by the 20th of May and you're in. It'll be fun to have you. All right. Next month, we will be, and there's actually another class in May, the week before. I don't have a sign for it, but look for the announcements. I am starting I've had 2 so far. This will be my 3rd here in May, a product of the month class. And that's a free class in the Backstage Pass. And you bring supplies, I bring supplies, and we just stamp along with each other. I'm going to be using, I can't remember, Kayleen, maybe you can help me out. It's the berry paper that's part of the product of the month for May. So I'll be featuring that. And so that will be the week before. All right. So that'll be what, May 21st, something like that. So that's coming up before this. Anyway, that's going to be cool. And then in June, we have a sparkling celebration. So I'll be right back here in a month to upstyle the Sparkling Celebrations Paper Pumpkin Kit. That's going to be cool. And just to let you know, we'll upstyle again in July, the Bikes and Blooms. Now, we had a preview of this, a little bit of it at Onstage, and this one looks really cute. I really like the style of that one. So I'm looking forward to July. All right. Today is all about the Lakeside Retreat Paper Pumpkin Kit. So let's begin. All right. Before we begin, I cannot remember. I think these are called Wonderful Scenes. Is that the name of the dies that coordinate with this month? There's several more dies. These are just the 2 I'm using for this class today. There's a butterfly, a flower, and like a sparkler. Anyhow, so these are the ones I'm using. This one kind of, I mean, I know it's a sign, but it reminds me of like a for sale sign that they put out in your front yard when you're putting your house up for sale. Anyhow, this sign, we're going to be using this today. And then I do love any dies that are words. You know I like them. And so I am using this one quite a bit. The really great thing about this one is the word wonderful doesn't have an I in it, so you aren't chasing the dot, if you know what I mean. So, Kayleen says the product of the month for May is called Berry Blossom Vellum. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that. Okay, so Lois Swartz, thank you for joining us. Stick around. We're going to be making alternative projects using the Lakeside Retreat Paper Pumpkin Kit and some of the dies that match for the quarter. Along with a little bit, I'm going to dabble in the Waterside Retreat Sweet Collection, just a little bit of the dies and a little bit of the paper. So, we're going to do that. All right. I like to start a little simpler, although this card isn't going to be super simple. I am going to be using elements from the kit as well as the die. I'm using the Wonderful die. And so for this first project, using the word wonderful, I haven't glued these together, but whenever I use word dies like this, I always double, triple, or quadruple them up, depending on what I'm doing. So for this one, I'm going to double it up. Okay, let's see if my glue is going to work. I unclogged it earlier, but we shall see. So I am just like letting the weight of my glue bottle add a few drops here. Now, the rest of my projects for today, I have my die cuts done and they're already glued together. But I wanted to show you at least one, just so you can see that I am gluing them together. So just a few dots. I know some people like to use the adhesive sheets. I have a love-hate relationship with them, as you know. I just get the stuff all over the place. Good morning, Terry. All right, so there's the word wonderful. And you guys, I have die cut it from pecan pie. And pecan pie, it just kind of nicely, hello, coordinates with the kit. So this is one of the pieces from the kit. We're going to use that. Okay, and we have our wonderful. I'm going to use the bike from the kit. And one of the labels also from the kit, another label from the kit, and one of the strips of paper. So I'm just going to follow Stampin' Up's cue. Oh, Brian, go outside and bark. Sorry about that. I'm going to, follow the cue. I really like the way this was set up in Stampin' Up's card, so I'm going to just keep going with that. We're going to fold this one back. This card is going to be a simple side fold card. No fancy, crazy folds or anything. But I am going to also bring in a scrap of paper. Now you could bring in some white willow, which I would recommend with a paper pumpkin kit. I like white willow because the whites in paper pumpkin are a little cooler than basic white. So, but this is not white willow. This happens to be basic beige two-tone cardstock. So I had a scrap of it out because I was working on some waterside retreat stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to use that. And it's just pretty. It's a perfect match with this kit. And I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. So we're going to stamp first. Let's get our feet wet with the cattail image here. To me, this is the money maker in this stamp set. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up with pecan pie. Ink up the whole thing with pecan pie and dab in a little bit of peaceful pine. Okay, so I've brought in the ink pad. That's not part of the kit, but this is. And so I'm going to stamp this right here on my paper. And, you know, I don't mind that the greens kind of collide like that. It just has an organic look. And I'm going to do that 2 more times. So let me, on a piece of scratch paper here, I'm just going to kind of stamp this off real fast. Ink up in the pecan pie. Dab it with a little bit of peaceful pine. And isn't this a nice color that they've added to our in colors for this year? And that, hello, we get an in color. And I just wiped off all the ink on my finger. That was stupid. But we get a look at a new in color right away here with with April's Paper Pumpkin Kit. Okay, there's another one. And let me do one more. So I'm going to be making a lot of these today. And I'm inking them up almost the same way every single time. I just like having 2 colors in here. You could even add a third if you wanted to do this and maybe dab on a little more early espresso or dab on a little bit more pecan pie just to get some more interesting images. I just like the mixing of the ink. I think it has a more natural look than if it's just the one color. It also helps to create visual perspective and depth. So now you're going to kill me, but I'm going to fussy cut these out. And I have some done ahead of time, but you know what? I just stamped these in plain green. All right, so I guess this one's not going to have the combined color. I prepped this class over a week ago because I was so excited to work with it. And I've been like going, oh, I can't wait. Finally, the day has arrived. And out of the gate, I have blown it. So I was just going to do the one color and save the mixing for later. But I got so excited. Hello, we're mixing color already. All right, so you're going to fussy cut those out. And you know what? You can fussy cut them as loose or as tight as you want. And just, I always say, turn some music on, turn a movie on, put on a podcast, and just have some, just enjoy the process of fussy cutting. I know some people hate it. I actually don't mind doing it because I love what happens when we finish with it. All right, so let's do some more stamping. And I'm going to bring in just a scrap of colored paper so that I have some contrast between my grid paper and the piece I'm stamping. And I'm going to be stamping with more images from the kit here. I'm going to stamp with the Happy Father's Day. So we'll make a Father's Day card here. I'm going to be using that image along with, I love this detail. It's a little like rope piece. And I love how it adds to some of the interest of these. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stamp the word Happy Father's Day. We're going to stamp that first. And I'm going to stamp that in the Peaceful Pine. So to me, this is like the key color of the kit because it's the color they've given us as the ink spot, right? So I'm going to ink this up, Happy Father's Day. Okay. And I'm going to place that kind of near the top. I'm going to leave me some space down below. Okay, So there's the Happy Father's Day. And now I'm going to bring in my pecan pie, and I'm going to add in this rope detail. And this, I just love this detail on this, how it's meant to go just right there. It just lends, I don't know, it just makes it a little bit more interesting, I feel. Now we've got just a little bit more stamping to do, and that's going to be this label here. And I'm going to stamp that with our key color, which is Peaceful Pine. And I'm going to stamp You're an Inspiration, if I can find the image. Let's see here. Nope, not that one. I have them all on blocks. Here it is. You're an Inspiration. So there's a lot of little stamps in this set. I mean, it's a nice set to add to your collection of images, especially when you're looking for things for the guys in your life, right? But I can totally see this working for women as well. Okay, You're an Inspiration. That looks great. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to be doing this to just about everything in today's class. And I have a blending brush here. I'm going to load it up with some pecan pie. I'm not going to get it too juicy and wild and crazy, but I'm just going to knock the brightness of some of these white pieces down a little bit, so they're not popping off the page the way they are. Like right now, if I show you what I mean, like this piece blends in nicely to me, whereas the bike is really a bright, bright white. And so is that until you turn it over, and you're just ever so slightly. And I'm just going to do it a little here and there, just to knock it down a skosh. And people go, I really like the warmth of your card. What did you do? Well, I just did that teeny little bit of ink blending. All right, let's assemble this and we'll be done with card number 1. All right, so this piece, I've got a little hanging chad right here. There we go. Is going to glue onto the sign board. I love the little detail in here. It's super, super teeny, teeny, tiny. But you see there's these tiny little nails right there. Like ultra teeny, tiny little detail. And those are the kinds of details that I really enjoy. All right, so these are all going to get dimensionals. This is going to glue. So I'm going to glue this to the page right here along our right side. Okay, so this one really is a riff on Stampin' Up's design. Now, I felt when I opened this up, I'm like, I don't know how I can really create alternatives, because the projects in this kit are so smartly and beautifully and creatively designed that I'm like, I don't want to change them. They look good the way they are. Okay, little dimensional action here. So I'm just going to pop a couple on here. And where's my minis? Here's some minis. We'll add to this. Okay. And this one, you're getting a couple bigs. Okay. And then these other pieces are going to glue into place. All right, so you guys, tell me, have you been making any alternatives with this kit just yet? Have you made them the way they are? What you been doing? All right, so I'm going to add the bike kind of right about here. We're going to add the signboard. What is new in life for you? We're going to add, and I kind of need to space these out. So I'm going to add this one here. Then we'll add this, and then the wonderful is going to go up above. And I'm just going to cross both here. Okay. And the wonderful, I'm I'm just going to do several dots of glue. It doesn't need to have glue, you know, so much glue on there and everywhere that it comes oozing out, obviously. But I also, you know, I feel like if you do a few key places, the end and in the middle, you'll be fine. It'll stay down. Rose Carey says she has not opened the kit yet, waiting for inspiration. All right, there's a lot of great inspiration out there, I think. Speaking of inspiration out there, I feel like I have all of this a little bit high. Hold on here, folks. Whoops. Okay. I'm going to quickly dab my glue off. Okay. And I'm just going to move this down. I feel like it's a little high. So pardon the interruption here. We were almost done. But before the dimensionals kind of set up, I'm just going to bring this down. So there's a little bit more room for the word wonderful. I could have left it there. It wouldn't have mattered. However, I felt like the wonderful was in there and that it was being squished in there. And so I want it to feel like it's in the spot where it's supposed to be and that it's not like an afterthought, you know? It's not, yes, that's much better now that there's a little bit more room there. And when this is fully dry, I'll come in and clean that up with my adhesive remover. Now I'm going to take my bits of this fabulousness and I'm going to just add a little bit more dimension to the card here. So I'm going to add these with glue. Okay. So just a little bit of glue, and I'm going to glue the bottom, and then that will allow the top, and I'll just kind of let it, you know, I'm going to let it just kind of be free and lift up naturally. So it's got dimension without needing an actual dimensional. And this one is going to kind of glue to that tire. Okay. And then this one behind. Just like, and I'm going to kind of make sure they're on different angles because I don't want them to feel the same. Okay, Kayleen's making more of them as birthday cards. Neither my husband and I have fathers alive, but Kayleen, Steve is the father to your children. Michael, your son, is a father. I think that sometimes we get in you know, oh, I make one Father's Day card for my dad. But I think, hey, I look at my son's father-in-law gets a Father's Day card because he's the father of my daughter-in-law, right? I mean, there's many places where I find Mother's Day and Father's Day cards are actually appropriate. Okay, and okay. All right, I am going to add some spritzing to this. So I'm going to bring in SU100, or the dark deep skin tone, whatever it's called. None of us can figure it out. They changed their minds. All right. So I've got some schmutz on there. But yes, I think we need to have thank you cards, inspirational cards, and birthday cards. Just have cards for men. I think it's so easy to get carried away and make all kinds of cards for women and girls, and we just need to have a stash of man cards. And so in this man card, I'm going to do it because it's coming from me. It's going to get a little bit of sunshine and sparkle with a little wink of Stella. Oh, okay, that's cool, Kayleen. So you bought extra refills so that you could make, okay, smart thinking. All right. It's keeping it fairly simple, just working a little bit outside of the box and retooling and repositioning pieces from the kit. So there is my first alternative, really a riff on their original. Let's look at their original design here real fast. It's this one right here. So it really is very similar. Where are my stones? Here they are. I forgot about the stones. Okay, so let's add some of these rocks to this card. And I'm gonna just kind of base this little pile of cattails. We'll just kind of, whoops, that's kind of low. Trying to make this look natural. We'll do one there, and we'll do one more. I can tell I'm not going to have enough of these for my entire class. Whoops, that's facing the same direction. What rock falls the exact same way? There we go. All right. So just adding a little bit of that to base that in for fun. All right. On we go. Let's keep going and see what we come up with for card number 2 here. Let me just get my stuff in line. And card number 2, we're going to do, it's another fairly simple one, but I'm going to use the blue and white striped card base here. We'll fold it in half. Nothing too wild and crazy. And then what I did is for this, I have taken, so here's the Misty Moonlight, and I don't even remember how it goes, but it was like this, right? It was like this, okay? And I've cut some off to make this a square piece. And this square piece is 3 3/4 inches in both directions. And it's gonna be the perfect mat for this piece here. But I told you I was having a good time with this kit earlier, and I love doing this. I'm just creating a little bit of a haze around all the edges, and I've done this on a bunch of my cards so far with this kit because I just like how it lends to, you know, it kind of gives it a little bit of a vintage feel, and I just like the way it looks. I just like it. Okay, so these are gonna layer here, and this is gonna come to our card. Nothing too difficult. We're gonna do a little stamping on this before we get moving. And so I'm going to stamp with the cattails, the moneymaker. It's right here. I'd lost it for a second. And I am going to ink it up and stamp it just the same way I showed you earlier. So I'm going to add some pecan pie and then a little bit of the peaceful pine. For me, if I do it just straight peaceful pine on here, it just becomes, it stands out a little too much. So I'm going to add a little bit of stamping here. Okay. And so it's blending in, but it's just adding a little bit more depth, and we'll do it a couple, I'm going to do a couple more up in here. Oh, Kayleen, we'll catch you later. And you can watch a replay. I will post it. Speaking of replay, because we know that Stampin' Up, not Stampin' Up, but Facebook removes things. You can find all of my replays for quite a few years worth of paper pumpkin classes in my YouTube channel. They are all there. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit more to what is here. And what it's doing is it's customizing the piece so that it's just mine, because we all kind of put things in slightly different places, right? All right, so I've just customized it a little bit. Now let's even do part of what they've suggested for this particular piece is they've stamped the birds up here in the corner. So I'm taking that cue right from the original design, especially when it's so good already, right? And I'm just going to drop these birds right about there. Cool, nice. This is a great image too. They're all fun pieces. Super. All right, so that's my stamping on this piece. I'm going to go ahead and add these two. Okay. Just like this. Just layer these two, and we'll add dimensionals to this. Now I want to be cautious about where I'm going to put them in the corners, obviously. Okay. But I'm going to I want to make sure I'm going to keep this right side open or free of any dimensionals, because I'm going to make a little latch for this card. So I'm going to add one more, and I know that's not going to get in the way. So let's just go ahead and add that to our card base now. Hi, Charlotte. Thanks for popping on. Making some alternatives with the Lakeside Retreat Paper Pumpkin Kit. Okay, so I'm just going to attach this, say right about here. So I'm centered from side to side, but I'm a little bit lower. Sometimes I like to give myself an even border all the way, like on 3 sides, but I'm not doing that this time. Now this piece is going to reach in, and it's going to be what I'm going to call just kind of a latch. And it's just kind of to make it fun. It's not, it'll just be kind of an interactive piece. So this is the piece that was left over. I don't remember which side it was from, but I've just trimmed some off. This is what's left over. Now I'm just going to, at about 1 inch, you don't want it to be too big because then you can't really get it in there. You can't maneuver it. But I'm going to go ahead and give that a score. Okay. And now this is just going to tuck in right about there. And what I'm going to do is, and I might have to make it a little bit shorter, because we're going to put, I'm going to make it just a little bit shorter. 1 inch is a little too much to get it in and out. So I'm going to make it, ½ an inch. Okay. So you caught what I did right there, right? And I'm going to trim some of this off. I don't feel like it needs to be quite so long. Well, let me see what it looks like. Hold on. So this is going in here, and this is just simply going to glue to the back. And so you've got this little tab that you'll have to open in order to open the card. So it'll just kind of be fun. Okay. So I'm going to set this on the back of the card. Okay, you see where that's going on the back? And then this piece, I'll let that dry for just a second before I start wiggling it around. And that will tuck in. Now, let's finish this up. We're going to use the bicycle again. And these 3 pieces from the kit. And I'm going to do just what I did on the first one, and that is to do a little sponging around things. Well, not sponging, but blending. Just softening the white here. We'll do it on this piece as well. And these are already colored, so to me, they don't really need it. All right, this is going to be a birthday card, because like Kayleen said, we need masculine birthday cards, right? So I'm going to ink up the happy birthday in the green. And this label, I have the curves. There's 2 square corners and 2 curved. The curved are down at the bottom, but I'm going to stamp this up here. So I'm not dead center. And then I'm going to take my pecan pie, just like I did in that first card. Once you've got something that you're like, I like the look of that, go ahead and repeat it. And this one, I'm just going to add that right to the bottom, just like so. Cool. I really like how that looks. Now we have a little more stamping. We're going to stamp Older, Wiser, Better on this piece here. Let's see. Not the stamp I want. Here's the stamp I want. Older, Wiser, Better. I'm going to stamp in the green. You could stamp in Pecan Pie. You could stamp in Misty Moonlight. I have that color out as well. I'll be getting it out in a little bit here. Maybe actually, you know what? I'm going to get it out right now. It's like green, green, green. I'm going to pull in some of the blue. So, yep, making a switch. calling an audible here. And I'm going to bring in the Misty Moonlight and stamp Older, Wiser, Better. And we'll stamp that just in the center, the best you can. Okay, cute. You know, it's not, it's actually very subtle. It's hard to even tell that it's Misty Moonlight, but I know. All right, those pieces are ready to go. So I'm going to start to add these. I'm going to start with this piece here, and I'm just going to use this. It's just kind of to set the stage. It's adding more texture, more depth. It's not doing anything but hanging out and kind of anchoring this piece. So that's where I'm putting that, okay? A little bit higher, just kind of like so, just straddling that. And then we'll add the bike, and the bike's going to come up in here. Okay, it's interesting how different it looks when you change the angle on it. This is going to go on with dimensionals, because I can and I should. All right, so we'll add this kind of up in here. And my Older, Wiser, Better is going to layer right under the bike. And this piece will layer under here as well. So we're kind of just creating an anchor point right here. So this will tuck in. Let me just take these off for a second so I can get the full effect here. So here's our little tab piece that tucks in. And before I add these, I'm going to bring in some linen thread. And I'm going to tie a bow straight from the bolt here. Trying to make things fairly similar in sides on these loops. Just tighten that and give it a quick trim. I like to hold those tails together like the rest of you and trim. Nice even tails. And I'm going to take this and we're going to add it, and it's going to kind of come in right about here. And so I'm going to add that with a glue dot. Then this is going to kind of come over, and then our Older, Wiser, Better, our Happy Birthday will come in here. So my bow is a little wonky though, so let me get it less wonky than it is. There we go. And I'm going to put a glue dot on the knot, and then add that to the card base, or the card itself. I think I'm going to switch my angle here just a little bit. I'm going to come up this direction so it doesn't cover the Happy Birthday. I can still see the bike through that. Now for the Happy Birthday, it's going to be on, we've got a couple different, so I'm going to tuck my dimensionals in here. This way, I know that this will be sitting level by the time I add it here, okay? This one's going to go on with dimensionals, so we've got several layers of dimension going here, which is totally me. So I added, I have a tendency to make puffier cards. It's just my style. I like layers and dimension. And yesterday I was wrapping a gift, a Mother's Day gift, and I didn't even put the card. It was too puffy for an envelope. It was also too big for an envelope. It was an kind of a custom size, and so I actually just tucked the card underneath the bow of my gift. It didn't need an envelope. It just kind of sat right there. So sometimes I know we get, oh, we've got too many layers here and it's going to, extra postage. Well, it's extra postage anyway for me all the time. So, all right. So as always, I had to move my dimensionals over just a skosh so that it was in the right place. You would think I would learn, but I don't. Okay. And now this is going to just kind of attach in here. Let me check my notes. Was I going to put this under or over? Okay, so just kind of like so. We'll add a few more of those pebbles. Whenever I say pebbles, I always want to say bam, bam, bam. You guys, am I really dating myself when I say pebbles and bam, bam? Yep. Okay, I'm just chatting along right here to myself. Making a fool of myself. Okay. So I'm just going to add a little pebble right in here. And we'll do another one here, kind of right in here. I don't know, up in here. I kind of like the idea of including them in there. Maybe we'll move this one to here. Okay, and one last one. You know, do I move it down into here? You know what? I'm going to save it. Who says you have to put 3 on? Okay, but this is a little bit lopsided right here. I've got a dimensional on top of the knot, so I'm just kind of shifting it over so it's laying flat. Each level lays flat. All right, let's give it my happy splatters. Freckles, as Rose would say. Freckles and speckles, right? This also kind of lends to that vintage vibe. And so that was Misty Moonlight, and here comes a little bit of the dark brown. Whoa, that's got a lot of spreckles right there. Okay, a little heavy. This one gives a lot of juice. And then let's give it a little bit of a shine. Okay, and there you have another variation using the beautiful elements from the kit. All right, just repositioning things. And then the only thing we added in was another couple ink pad colors and some linen thread. All right, that was card number 2. We are on a roll. I like that. All right, this next project is another card. And this one's going to be where we're going to start taking a look at the Waterside Retreat Designer Series paper. Now, this pack of paper is packed with so much stuff. It's 12 pieces of awesomeness. You can see here, you've got buoys and lifesavers. There are life jackets, there are fish, there are waves, there are beautiful, well, here's that plaid, a larger version of the plaid, the back of the plaid, the seagulls. Here are more of the bicycles, okay? And I've cut several of these out, you can see, just, moving things around. Look at this beautiful piece. We'll use a piece of this a little later. There's just fun stuff in here. Sometimes if I really want to do, to take part in a sweet collection, but it's like, that's a little more than I want to spend, and I'm not going to use it as much. I'm not saying that for this one. What I'll do is just buy the Designer Series paper, and that's, for $12.50, $13, I don't remember what Designer Series paper is these days, you're able to get that feel. So this is one of those packs where you could totally be making Waterside Retreat cards without investing in the entire suite collection. All right, so we're gonna chop here, and I'm gonna fussy cut some life preservers here and some buoys. So I have some stuff done ahead of time. And again, turn a movie or a podcast on, or, listen to a book on Kindle or whatever, and just have some fun. Now, so these are the pieces I'm going to use for this card. So one of the wood plank card bases, and I'm going to fold it in half. No fancy fold on this, just a regular side fold. Here is a piece from the kit. This piece from the kit, the fish is from the kit. These 2 pieces from the kit, and the vest is from the kit. These 4 pieces that I'm adding, I have 2 life savers or life preservers, and I have 2 buoys. And you could really, and I've selected buoys and life preservers, life rings that are in the color palette that you see here. You could have brought in some reds, some yellows, some pinks, but I wanted to show you my tip here. So you can see that this life preserver, I've cut the middle out, and this one I haven't. And I'm going to show you how I do this with ease. Not ease, it takes a bit, but I'm going to take a hole punch, and I'm just going to come in here, and my hole punch is getting kind of caught up. I'm just going to, just punch some of that out of there. That gets me started. And now I can come in with my paper snips and just quickly work myself around. And just remember, when fussy cutting, rotate, curve the paper, hold the blade steady. And so I'm just working around this like so, trying to kind of come in here for the details. It's not a perfect circle. Right in there, it's a little hard to tell where it starts and stops. But to me, this is one of the details. You don't have to cut this out, but for me, it's one of the things that just takes the work that you're doing up a notch. I'm going to clean some of this out because I couldn't quite, I'm kind of working in my own shadow here, which is kind of silly, but the shadow and then the camera is in like my headspace where I'd like to put my head over and into the light to see what I'm doing. Okay, I think this is looking better. That's better. Okay, just a little attention to detail there. Get rid of that. And so now this has, it's just a little bit more interesting. So my tip would be take the few minutes just to take that center out. All right, let's see. For this card, this is going to be a thank you card, and it's going to use you're a lifesaver, all right? Cute. I've seen some cute projects where people have done some things with lifesavers, the candy, and I think, oh, that's really cool. All right, this is one of those situations where I'm going to need my contrasting color here so that I can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to use the word thanks. Okay, and I am going to stamp in Misty Moonlight. Whoops, I want the word thanks. And I'm going to stamp it not quite at the bottom, in the middle, but a little bit towards the top. I was looking at the bottom. I'm wanting to leave some bottom open so that I can come in with the rope detail here that I like. And this time it's going to be, oh, I just about stabbed my foot with my hobby blade. Not good. Okay, let me give it a quick clean. Okay. And so I'm just gonna make some stripes here. We're gonna go once. We'll just add several of these. Hi, Norma. Hey, Annette. Okay, couple stripes on this. And I think I'm going to do one more up here towards the top. There it is. Just that much. All I'm going to do. I'm leaving some of this blank. I could add another one in there if I wanted, but I don't want it to get too busy. Oh, there go the dogs. They got to bark at people walking by. Okay, so I'm going to soften this like I have some of the others. And so notice I haven't even added, hey Bosco, go outside and bark. I haven't even added more ink to this. I'm just letting what's here, I'm offloading onto that piece. All right, let's put all of this together. First off, let's do this because we know this is going to be here. Okay, so I like to get my pieces kind of set so that they're not all over the place. Get your layers glued together and whatnot. Okay, there's that one. And this is going to get dimensionals. Surprise, surprise. So we'll give it 2. And the other thing that's going to get dimensionals is this piece here. And I'm going to be running this piece across. it's going to kind of be like a beam where my signage is going to be hanging. And then I'm just going to start decorating and embellishing the sign with my paraphernalia over here. Right. Okay. Now, I put all these on and I'm like, wait a minute. I know I've got some stuff going around it. I might be pulling some off in a second here. What else is new? Let's stamp this with You're a Lifesaver. And I'm going to stamp that in Misty Moonlight. Here's the You're a Lifesaver. My Misty Moonlight could probably stand to be inked up. It's feeling like it's at that point. Okay, sweet. I love it. All right, so now let's start to just kind of hang all these pieces. Oops, I missed one here that I want to add a little bit of a haze to. I just want to soften this just a little bit. Kind of that weathered look that it's been out at the beach, you know, or a coastal town like a fishing town. All right, so all of this is going to actually offset to the right side. So it's going to have like a right justification here. So I'm going to bring this down to about here. I'm just touching it. I don't want to set it down all the way because I do want to take my life preserver here. And I am missing two pieces. I should have the word wonderful for this particular card. So I'll have to find that in my stash somewhere. So I'm just going to kind of hook this on here like so. And my fish is going to come up here. Now, where did my wonderful go? It's supposed to be a blue one. I might have to use a different one for now. Whew. I'm looking through my stash. I wonder if I stole it for another project. I know I didn't. Okay, well, I have lost it. I've lost my wonderful. So for the time being, I really wanted here's one. I really wanted this to be blue. And in my notes, it is blue. And I'm searching, I'm not finding one. Hold on, let me check my box here. Here's my paper pumpkin box of stuff. I could swear I had it, folks. I might have used it on another project and not realized what I was doing. Okay, well, for now, we're gonna use Early Espresso because I have one die cut. But when I photo this, you're gonna see a difference, and that is it's gonna be blue, okay? So that's gonna come in here. And my fish gonna come up in here. This is gonna go on with a dimensional. So I'm just gonna put a couple on here, and I'm gonna put them towards the top. Okay, all right. Never fear, we'll make it work, right? This is cute. Okay, so my fish is gonna come down in here like so. And the wonderful, I am just barely gonna tack this on. So that I can easily pull it off and put the blue one on. And so this is gonna go right across the beam. Okay. Well, hopefully it'll go across the beam and stay for a second. It says, even if you are going to take it off and switch the color, you need just a little bit more glue. Okay, bear with me. We're getting there. We're getting there, folks. We're doing pretty good. I mean, this is our third card for today. Okay, good. It stayed. Don't look at it. All right, let's add our You're a Lifesaver. And I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. And then from this, I'll hang the thanks, the signage. So this is going to come across. And I'm just going to kind of hang it right under the wonderful. Well, I think I'm going to pull it to the side just a little bit. Just this way, just a little bit. And then this piece. And then we'll decorate with these elements. And this is going to go under the You're a Lifesaver. Okay, now this life preserver is just going to kind of hang over here. And then we're going to have the life jacket. And we'll put a couple of these buoys. They're just going to kind of hang right in there. Okay, so maybe this one actually comes under, and then we'll take this one on top. Okay, and I'm going to glue this one. Kind of trying to decide what angle I want it. Kind of up in here, maybe put a dimensional right under there just to hold all this down. And this is what I like to do when I'm like, okay, I need a dimensional there to make it level, is I'll just take the backing off and then just reach this in. There we go, tuck it under there. And then these two, these are gonna get, what I'm gonna do with these to get some dimension, I'm going to add the dimensional towards the bottom of the buoy, and I'm going to put glue at the tops, and I'll tuck them under. Right here like so. And then these, we'll just reach this one in, kind of like this is hanging from this beam up here. And then we'll tuck this one in as well. I'm going to tuck this one underneath. There you go. Kind of fun, kind of different, but I like the elements here. Let's give it a little bit of a zhuzh, a spreckle. And this one's pretty juicy, so I'm going to ease up just a little on this guy. And I'm just gently tapping. Let's add in some mossy meadow this time. It just kind of helps tie everything together. It now has a cohesive feel, like everything was designed there rather than having some slightly different colors and whatnot. All right, we'll stick that down the beam, and we'll give it a little bit of a sparkle here. And this has a lot of sparkle. I love it. Love it, love it. All right. So there is just kind of another look, blending the elements of the kit with some fussy cut pieces from the Waterside Retreat Designer Series paper. All right. I like this one. It's just kind of, you know, rearranging the elements and making a nice gentleman's thank you note. All right, but do be looking. This is going to end up being misty moonlight in the photos because I'm going to change it. I want it to be what I originally intended. Okay, this next isn't going to be a card. It's going to be a gift card holder, okay? So here's one of the envelopes from the kit. You're going to take your envelope and glue the envelope shut. All right, then once that's nice and dry, you're going to cut it off. You're going to put your envelope in your paper trimmer at 4 inches and cut this off, okay? And so this is going to be a gift card holder. So we're going to start with more of the Designer Series paper. In the designer series paper, there are two pieces of, I'm going to call them panels / labels. Let me show you the whole piece. Let me dig it out here. Here it is. So here is the entire piece. This is the piece I'm going to use on this card, this upper corner. But look at all of these designs here. Does this one look familiar? That's the card. And this, we've got a smaller version of this in the kit. But these are just fun pieces that you can move around. The back side of this, doesn't this look familiar? It's that blue and white stripe that we have a card base in. So, fun to mix and match. So we're going to use this, and I'm going to punch a hole in this. Let me see, where is my hole punch assortment? So I want my little 1/8 inch hole punch here. And I'm going to punch a hole in the corner of this label, just right there like that. Okay. And I have some scraps from another project. So this is, you can tell, I've already cut half of the card base away. And so this is what's left, half of a card base. And this is perfect for what I'm going to do. So Annette, you have to get to fussy cutting. Do you like to fussy cut? I do. All right, so this is what you're going to be using, okay? We're going to take this and we are going to, I'm just going to put a little glue here on the bottom. Okay, and do it on the bottom. Don't glue the whole thing in, just do on the bottom. And you're going to take this and you're going to slip this inside the smaller half. Okay, just slip it inside there like that. And now this piece will just reach up inside and hold the whole envelope together. Okay, so that's the start of our project. Super, super simple. We're going to take some linen thread. Okay, and I'm going to go through my little tag here. And I'm going to tie around my top. So the larger half is on top, right? I'm going to tie around that. Okay. Just give this, you like that? Tying from the bolt here. And I like to have longer tails. So I like to make a statement. Just going to tie this in a bow, and hopefully I can do this, but get it tight enough. You like the sound effects in there? Terrible. Okay, that's tight enough. It looks bad right now, but not to worry. I'm going to even it out. No problem, right? John Lacey's back. Oh, okay. That Artisan DSP is fabulous, isn't it? And yes, it requires some fussy cutting. But I'd love to see what you're making with it, because that is a great pack of paper, Annette. So Jacqueline popped on. She says, hello, Liz and everyone. I'm joining in the party a little late. Everyone's always welcome. It doesn't matter what time you come. Okay, so now there's my tag. So it's almost like, this is going to become a packaging for a gift card. Look at this gift card. It's not even a gift card. It was a room key for the Fairmont Hotel in Long Beach. It's just this wood piece. I'm like, well, what a great looking gift card. I'll use that as a prop. Okay, so these are pieces I'm going to use from the kit. I have one of these. This is going to go on the inside. We've got a couple of the oars. These are from the kit. There are more oars in the designer series paper if you want to fussy cut those out. A life jacket from the kit. I've die cut the word wonderful. This is in pecan pie. It's twice. I've got 2 of those. And I've also got one of the labels here. Okay, so let's put this together. This stuff's going to go on the inside. And this stuff is, you always have room keys. That's right. That's right. This is going to go on the cover here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this. And I'm going to stamp this with, I think I'm going to stamp with pecan pie. Well, I don't know. I should see which is stamping darker here. If my Misty Moonlight were nice and zhuzhed up, I would use that, but it's a little dry, and I really need my greeting. I'm going to stamp directly on this label, so I need it to stand out. And I want the greeting that says, "You're an inspiration." Okay, so let's just see what's stamping darker. "You're an inspiration." Oh, I can tell you right now, the Peaceful Pine is going to stamp darker. I just need it to be nice and intense. Secret Sea or Night of Navy would have been a good one, or even Blueberry Bliss. Oh, that's a no-brainer. We're going to use the green, and we're going to stamp directly on the DSP. And I'm just going to stamp it down here in this bottom corner, really kind of letting the ink get into the fibers of the paper there by holding it just a little longer. Great. You know what? It shows up just fine. All right. I like that. I like it a lot. That is our stamping for the front. Talk about easy. Now we're going to add just some die cuts here. And then these two as well. So it's just going to look something like so. Okay, just kind of keeping it easy. And that will be our tag. So let's go ahead and glue this down. I like kind of simple little projects like this. Okay, so this is going to get glue. I'm just going to tuck that under. It was at a little bit of an angle. This one also is going to get some glue. Don't go all the way to the end because your oars are going to be off the tag or out of the water. She's got her oars out of the water. Okay, so there's that. Hopefully I didn't go too far with the glue, and I did. Okay, just wipe it off. Wipe it off. Forget about it. All right, this one's going on with glue. These are all going on with glue because this one is on top of everything, and so it kind of needs to be a little bit more flat. All right, this one's going on. You know what? Before I put this on, I'm going to do what I have to do because we can and we should. And that is to bring light and sparkle and glimmer to everything. Why not? Wink of Stella is a wonderful thing. All right, there's that. I don't care if it is for a guy who's getting some sparkle. Won't hurt him. He won't even notice it. All right, I just have to clean the boogies that are collecting on my glue tip there. Okay. Looks like the back of this one, I did pecan pie on an early espresso. I was using what I had. Okay. So Annette, if you're still here, I'm curious what you're going to be doing with all of your fussy cut pieces from the Artisan Designer Series paper, that black and white paper. My guess is you've cut out vases and flowers and all kinds of great things. Okay, and now this, we're just going to let it overlap onto the vest and even a little onto the greeting there. You can still read it. Oh, you guys, this tag is so simple, but I really like it. All right, what a simple, fun way to give, this could be, you're wonderful, you're an inspiration. This could be for a birthday. It could be for graduation. It could be for all kinds of things. Did you expedite the in-color shimmer brushes? Jacqueline, I only have one, believe it or not, and that is Barely Blush, because Barely Blush is the best color of the in-colors, in my opinion. All right, now for this, I'm just going to keep the inside. Oh, stay tuned, Annette says. I will. I'm eager to see what you're going to do. Okay, so this is going to become my gift card holder, and I got a little too rambunctious with the glue here. Okay, So remember when I said don't get too crazy with the glue? I got too crazy with the glue. What happened is as I put it in, even though it was just down here, I got it on the envelope here. Okay, so I may have to do another bottom on this, but you want this to slip inside here. And we're gonna give it a seat belt. So to do that, oh, you guys, this looks terrible. Make sure you don't glue your thingy shut and get this big old pucker. I'm gonna fix this too. I said pucker, by the way, pucker. Just make sure that, yeah, in the photos, I'll fix this up too. So you know I'm not losing it. You're shocked. Oh, that I only bought the one? I know. Don't worry, they'll come. But in time, I think the next color I'm going to need is the Peaceful Pine. Yeah. Okay, so this is just going to kind of act as decor. You could stamp on it if you wanted. And I guess I could. But it's just kind of hold it on. You know, when this slipped all the way in, it was really, really cute. But underneath, what you're going to do is just add a tag here. And you want to make sure it doesn't end up getting too high up. But just stamp whatever you want here, whether it's a thank you or a happy Father's Day, or if you want it to be happy birthday, stamp a greeting there. And so let's just do... let's do happy birthday, and I'll stamp this in the green. Okay, and I'm going to stamp towards the top. Hopefully that's straight. I didn't put it on another color to see what I was doing. But this is just going to kind of tuck in here. And you could put the Older, Wiser, Better here, or you're an inspiration. Let's go ahead and put Older, Wiser, Better. Put this right in the middle. I don't always like to do things in the center, but occasionally there's a call for it. Okay, and this, I'm gonna put this on with just a little bit of, hold on, I gotta knock this down a little. It's too white. Sorry. Once you start seeing it, you're like, oh yeah, it's just a little bit crazy. And I'm gonna splatter that as well. So I'm going to put just a little glue on this, just in case I want to switch it out to Happy Father's Day or something. Well, of course, it already says Older, Wiser, Better. But I'm just going to tuck this in here. Okay, so keeping it simple, nothing. You could add more embellishments under here if you wanted, but there's really just a gift card in there. And sometimes the gift card can end up having a lot of color to it, has a lot of, you know... you're like, I kind of want it to match my project. So I'm just giving that a light little splatter. And then you're going to tuck your gift card in there. And then when they pull it out, they have another greeting there. Annette says, I'm a hydrangea hue fan. A lot of people are, and it is a great color. The pink is super light, but have only watercolored with the in colors and colored with the blends. So you're right. It is a very light color, and that's what I like about it. Is it's just such a great neutral that's not going to take over things for me. So I kind of see it. It's as one that could be a base of something replacing, say, basic beige or white even. So it can kind of be looked at that way. For me, and I love a pink tone, so I'm good with that. All right, so does this one make sense? I'm gonna fix the bottom of this. You know I'm gonna do it, and you know what? I'm gonna splatter this to tie it into the other. I don't even remember. I was jabbering. I don't remember what color I did. Okay, so just a little bit there, and we'll get some outer splatters of Stella. But I think this is kind of it's an easy little gift card holder. Pull it off, there's your gift card, and voila. So when you have one of those half pieces left, now you know what you can make with it. All right, I like that project. I think it's cool. What do you think? All right, I have 2 more cards planned. These 2 are gonna be a little bit more involved. I'm gonna take them up and over the top a little bit here. All right, so I'm going to start with a basic beige card base here. And this is half a sheet of cardstock, US. And so it's 8.5 by 5.5. And I've scored at 4 1/4. So it's just kind of a basic card base here, right? Okay. Now this card is going to be a mix of the Lakeside Retreat Paper Pumpkin Kit and the Waterside Retreat Sweet Collection. So I'm bringing in a piece of paper here. Where did it go? How could I have already lost it? It's been 2 seconds. Did it fall on the floor? Nope. Seriously, folks, I don't know what happened to it. Here it is. It's over here. It's over here. So this is a piece of the Designer Series paper. Bicycles on one side. Annette, get to cutting some of these out. But look at the seagulls. So this is going to be on this side. And I'm going to go ahead and rough this up just a little bit. I'm going to open my scissors and I'm just going to do a real quick scuff on each edge. Okay, it kind of not interesting, it immediately kind of lends to a wind-blown coastal feel. Ah, holy moly. Don't slice your paper. But not to worry, it's going to get covered up. So I'm not going to worry too much. I'm going to set that askew. And I have half of a card base here. So the plaid half is going to be, I don't know where it goes. It's going somewhere. Or I've used it, I don't know what I've done with it. Anyway, we've got this one. Before I go ahead and rough up the edges, just like I did my first piece, I'm going to come in with my blending brush and just age these edges here. And this brush, if you're just kind of jumping on, I've been using this whole time without even re-inking. It has pecan pie ink in it. Okay, so I'm just distressing, aging, and edging these, okay? Okay, so once I've got that, I'm gonna do the same thing that I did with my scissors, and that is to distress the edges. We used to have a tool. It was little white and it had notches in it. And I found that the other day. I'm like, oh, wish we still had that. Was it called the Distressing Tools Kit? Something like that. An oldie but goodie. Maybe some of you remember it. I remember it. Okay. All right, so I've gotten all the way around on that. Looks great. All right, so this is going to go, all that beautiful seagull paper, and you don't even see it. It's a little funny. I'm going to go this way to hide my rip, but we're going to add this to our card base here. So this one is going to go this way. So let me just kind of give this a quick glue down. And I'm going to let things kind of come off the edges a little bit. Because like I say, I don't always put my cards in an envelope. A lot of times, if I'm packing a gift, I will tuck it in the top of the gift. So that it's, you know, it's kind of part of it rather than being in an envelope. You have the distressing tool. I do too. Great minds think alike, Rose. All right, and so this one, I'm just going to offset the other direction. Okay, we've just got a shabby beach feel here. You have one from Sizzix. It was like there was a whole, it was in a plasticky envelope with like a zip thingy on the top, if I remember correctly. Okay, for this one, I am planning to use the die from the Wonderful Scenes. And I've already die cut it and I've already distressed it for time's sake, all right? So that we're not here until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I've die cut it from Pecan Pie two-tone cardstock. all right? And the reason I cut it from the two-tone cardstock was so that when I sanded it, I got that white core to show. Maggie, you have it and you use it still? All right, see? You're part of the Great Minds Think Alike Club. Good to have you here, Maggie. So this is going to kind of sit in here, and everything's kind of askew. Jan Lacey says, I'll never get rid of the distressing tool and use it a lot. Yep, there's some things that you just hold on to and some things that it's like, okay, I have not even pulled that one out of the box. And that would be the new positioner I haven't pulled out of the box. Okay, this is a white, it's not square, it's rectangle. But so I've die cut this from pecan pie and I've die cut this from white. And so it's the piece that comes out of that, all right? That's the perfect one to fit in here. So let's do some stamping on this. I'm first gonna start by distressing the piece and aging it the way I've been doing everything else, and that is to take my blending brush that I haven't even, you saw me, I put ink in it at the beginning and I haven't re-inked it since. All right, this is gonna be a birthday card. Because like Kayleen, we need birthday cards. And I'm going to stamp the greeting with Peaceful Pine. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. You know what? Before I do this, I found this works better for me to stamp my rope pieces first. Because what I want to do, and these are going to be in pecan pie, I'm going to do 2 at the bottom. Okay? And I'm going to do 1 across the top. And then that way I can center my greeting between these rope details. Because if I do the other, then I'm like, oh, I was too high with that, or I just found this was the better process for me. Okay, so now I can come in here with the happy birthday and we'll stamp this in here. Okay. Now you kind of saw my method of madness, how that actually was simpler for me. All right, so I'm going to come in and do some more stamping, and that is stamping more of the cattails. So let's just pretend, for time's sake, if you didn't see me do that, I'll do one more, and that is I'm going to ink up the cattails in, let me just kind of wipe it off. I'm going to ink up in pecan pie. Okay, and I'm going to dab in a little bit of Peaceful Pine. And I'm just kind of using the edge of the ink spot there to kind of color. And I'm not being exact. I'm just letting it happen. Okay, so I'm just getting some color variation in there. All right, so I think I want a couple of these. Okay, so you're going to need a couple of those. And you can do them on basic beige, you can do them on white willow, whatever you have handy. So we have those. So here are mine. Mine are already cut out, but you can see they're bright white, and I want to knock those down and make them a little bit more of that distressed look. So I'm just going to come in here and soften that look with my brush, my blending brush. And it really does, it really, tones it down, and it really lends to the look. Let's see, we're going to stamp our greeting here. We're going to stamp it with, you could put Older, Wiser, Better, You're an Inspiration. I'm going to go ahead and put, I like the Older, Wiser, Better. I just think it's kind of a fun, it's not your typical greeting. All right, so we're going to stamp it in the Peaceful Pine, the beautiful Peaceful Pine color. Older, Wiser, Better. Just going to hit it right in the center. Okay, so we're stacking up our pieces here and getting what we need for this card. I got to kind of squish some of this stuff out of the way. It's like I have no elbow room right now. I've made a mess. Okay, the other thing that I want to get, I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut from the Designer Series paper a life preserver. And this is also from the DSP. I've fussy cut this is, some of the oars are singles, but this happened to be a pair of oars. So I've got those ready. I'm going to go ahead and just knock the bright white down. And I'm just going to add a little haze of my pecan pie, just lending to that feel. So it ties all these pieces together. Now, the last three things that I'm going to bring into play here, these are the dies. So I haven't used the dies too much today, but so I have, here's one of the cattails. Here's one of the cattails. I've colored this one. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that here in just a second. And then I've actually got 3 cattails. So the cool thing is you've got cattails facing in 2 directions in this set of dies. Now, at some point in time, I'm going to do a pickup class, which will be a free class in the Backstage Pass, where I'm going to I'm going to go ahead and do a class with the Waterside Retreat. It will probably be, my guess, in June. Maybe sooner. We'll see. All right. So I'm just going to take my green and I'm just going to kind of pounce color on here. I'm not going to do anything crazy and special. I've just pounced a little bit. I'm just basing some color in here. Now I am going to re-ink my pecan pie. And we'll go ahead and I'm just going to pounce the tops of these. And if the colors overlap, the colors overlap. Great. I like that. Okay. So I've just done, and let me kind of move this a little bit so you can see the color better. I've just done some ink where I've just kind of, added some with my blending brushes here. Now I'm going to take my what is this thing? Stampin' Blend. And I'm just going to kind of touch here and there. Okay, I'm not going to worry and make it perfect. I'm going to come in with crumb cake, believe it or not, and just kind of blend this out. Just kind of coming up the stem. Okay, can even come onto there. But I've just used crumb cake as my blending brush, and I can come back in if I want to add some more of the green in here. But just have some fun with this. Then I'm going to take my dark, and I'm going to take the bullet end, and I'm just going to kind of draw up one side as if that's where the sun's coming in from the other way and casting the shadow on this. And then if I need to blend that a little bit more, I can just dab it with that crumb cake. My point is, don't be afraid to mix techniques. Don't be afraid to mix Stampin' Blends. It doesn't have to be light and dark of one color. Mix them up. I know you guys already know that. So I've now got some cool cattails here to add to my card. And so let's just put this beauty together. This is my kind of card. I mean, I like the others, but this is where I go, yeah, that's what I like. All right, so I'm going to need some linen thread here. So let's see. Oh, I already have some done. Here's a bow already tied. And this is going to be a part of this card. Let me just pull the ends and even them up. They're pretty close, but they're also just a skosh long. I like them long, but that's too long. Okay, so I've got this ready to go. Let's get, because this is my anchor element, it's what everything kind of comes off of this piece, if that makes sense. Okay, now you got to get these on. I'm not doing a very good job, but get them on to where they're not going to show, if you know what I mean. Dean, where's Rose? Okay, here we go. And I'm going to add some to the back of this as well. I think 3 will do it. It's going to be enough. Going to make it be enough. Okay, let's peel all these. Hello, Karen. Okay, all right. So this one is just going to kind of be askew just a little bit. I'm trying to get this in the right spot here. Just kind of right about there. And then this piece, you know, it fits in here perfectly, but I'm going to let it be askew. And this one, I just may actually just kind of set it in there. We're going to have our lifesaver and our oars are going to kind of come into here. And our life is just going to come in like so. And older, wiser, better. Come in here. Let me just add a few of these. Plop this one in here. 1 year older and wiser too. Maybe follow the same line as the happy birthday. If you feel like it's got a little too much craziness, straighten it out. Do what you want. I think I'm going to just kind of tuck it up here a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to put my linen thread in here. Little glue dot action. And this is going to land right where my oars meet up with the post of the signage here, if that makes sense. I'm gonna kind of put that right there. And then these are gonna kind of come in right about there. Actually, this comes up a little higher, like so. Okay, looking good, looking good. Let me attach these. I'm just gonna turn this over and add some glue, and then we'll get this added to everything. You kind of have to like, all right, where's it gonna touch? Okay, moving right along. Okay, something like so. Okay, just kind of like that. I'm going to bring my grasses in, and they're going to tuck behind. Okay, so I'm going to glue this. Just like that other card, I'm going to let the tops kind of be wispy and free. So I'm just going to kind of set one in there. I'm going to take another one and flush that area out. Kind of right about here. Okay. And I'm going to add some cattails. Kind of right in there. So we've got kind of just a nice grouping down here at the bottom. And then we'll go ahead and add some more up through the top here. So I have this one, and I'm going to have this kind of coming out here, just kind of flushing this area out with just a little bit more decor. Yep, they're growing up in midair. They're not really, but. And then we're going to do one more. Kind of right tuck it in here somehow. Well, it was supposed to go up in here, but my sign, I'm going to pull this one off for just a second. Oh, there go the dogs. We got to do their business, and that's to yelp. Drive me crazy. All right, I'm going to do a little teeny mini glue dot right there at the bottom. Add this underneath. Bring it out just a little bit. And now I can kind of see where I'm going to put that older, wiser, better. Okay. Could even come down here, but I like it up here better. We'll just pull it out just a little bit. Older, wiser, better. And now we'll do the usual, but we'll also bring in some of the little pebbles. Okay. To anchor some of these elements. You know what? I'm going to do one. You saw me do this earlier, but I pulled the cover off of that. I'm going to just come in right there and kind of level that ore out and really anchor it. And so we'll add some pebbles. Everything's over here on this left side, all right? And maybe we'll add one more over in here. Okay, there's that. Let's give it some splatters to bring everything together and to continue that little bit of the that aged feel. Okay, that was the deep skin tone. And now we'll come in here with some mossy meadow. Whoa, sorry, I didn't mean to, yeah. This is a huge splatter right here. So maybe we need to get a big one down here. So whenever you do something like that, where it's like a lot right there, then do a lot in another spot that's not going to be too crazy. And then it looks intentional rather than like a mistake. That's the way you cover it up, right? Right? All right, let's give it some Stella Sparkle. And we will call it Art. This one, just a nice menagerie of stuff, if you know what I mean. So I think this one's fun. And then, you know, you can add stuff to the inside. I haven't done the insides of anything today, but of course you can go through and zhuzh things up. All right, one last card. And here we go. This one, I'm going to be using more of the Designer Series paper. And this is a 12 by 6 inch piece of Designer Series paper. Obviously, it's the Lakeside Retreat. This is, you know, the card base in the kit. This is from Waterside Retreat. The card base in the Paper Pumpkin kit is a smaller version, of the plaid. All right, so I've already scored this piece, and I've scored it at 2 inches, 4 inches, 8 inches, and 10. So 2, 4, 8, 10, okay? And it's going to be a 4 by 6 folded card. Now, we did this layout in a class a couple months ago when we did, I did the lovely arrangements. And so I really like this. I'm like, I'm going to do that again because I want to keep that one fresh in my mind. I like this layout a lot. So I have a couple more pieces of Designer Series paper from the Waterside Retreat. And look at this. This is a stripe, but I love, don't be afraid to mix plaids and stripes. You can do it. And then here's the life jackets on the other side. So what we're going to do is these pieces, they're both the same size, but they are, if you have a pattern, let me turn these over. If you have a pattern of paper that has a, that definitely has that's directional, you have to be aware of what's going on here. And I'll explain in just a second. So both of these pieces are 3.5 inches by 6 inches tall. However, they are both scored. So on this one, I've scored it because it has a pattern that's directional. I've come in and scored at 2 inches, all right? So that when this folds, my life preservers are going the right direction. Now, if I took this piece and scored it at 2 inches, I'm going to have to turn this around and my life jackets will be upside down. So just be aware. So this one, I have scored it. You can turn it upside down and score it at 2 inches, or you score it at 1.5. That way, when you fold these, your paper is going the right direction. So hopefully that made sense. Just be aware that you can't just do the score line and it be okay. You have to be a little bit cautious. All right. So on this larger 2-inch flap, I'm going to add some glue here. And this is going to tuck, whoops, that guy came along for the party here. These two are going to marry into each other. Okay, so I've just brought that, and that's a crazy pattern right there. And that's, hold on. That's upside down. So I'm glad I checked because it does make a difference. They show, but it's not really going to show in your card, but you want to be aware. So I'm glad I looked. Okay. Take 2. Okay, so this just dives in to that side there. Okay, so there's that. And like I say, be aware of what's going on in your surroundings. All right, now this one, here's the 2-inch tab. I'm going to glue on that. And this tucks under on this side. So now we have all these accordion folds, but it makes for kind of a cool, I like this look. You're going to see it again and again from me. So this is kind of where I'm starting. So it opens and we've got all of this real estate to play with and to design. So we're going to start with this inside layer right here. And this inside layer, I'm going to use one of the circles from the kit, excuse me, and it's just going to mount right there. I'm going to go ahead and glue half of this on, okay? So go ahead, close your card, and center it from side to side, only gluing the left half. Okay, and I am higher than I am lower. So now we have something like that. From the kit, oh, okay, so, whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the camera. Making a mess. So from the kit, there was okay, so this one is a circle. All right, so this one comes this way. I know I die cut this from the paper and circle cut it. So that's why I'm like, what? I'm going to go ahead and put this one on with glue. Okay, and this is going to sit right in the center of this cool die cut circle. I like this little detail around the edge. And so that house peeks through just a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and cover up that house with a belly band. And so my paper here is pecan pie, and I'm just going to actually, let's see, I'm going to fold this. We're going to go around. Okay. And then we'll bring this piece up and around. And I'm actually going to turn this over and do it towards the back, so that our seam falls on it's on the side, but it's the side back, okay? So my belly band here, the width of this is 1 1/4. I'm don't worry about score lines, just fold it around. Okay. So now I have this belly band that will help keep this closed. Ta-da! Just like so. I love it. And now I'm going to decorate this area here. Let me just check my little notes here. Okay, so we're going to do some stamping. Here's my, this is the basic beige, and I'm going to stamp the word, and it depends who you want this for. If you want this for a son or you want this for your dad, you could use either one. I'm going to ink this up in Misty Moonlight. Okay, And I'm going to stamp it right here on the very, very corner. Okay, so I've just stamped it like so. Now I'm going to take my scissors and do just a real quick, simple little chop. And I'm really close to the words here, or the letters, I should say. So I've just got a little sun just like that. He's not that little anymore. Neither of them are. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to do like a direct paper here and just do a quick, just, you know, hit the edges of that. And I have the word wonderful die cut. And this feels like one layer. So I think I'm going to go ahead and layer it. I have one more in here. So let me just glue these quickly, because you know me, I like to do you guys layer them up? One, it gives them more dimension. It gives it visual heft. Because sometimes when you have a fairly puffy card and this little dinky word, it just kind of looks out of scale. Come on, glue. It just is getting too clobbed up at the top there, but I don't want to touch it because I'm not sticky at the moment. Fussy, aren't I? Okay, so just add these two together. Okay. Now I have I'm not going to do a ton on this, but this is going to be on the front, on the belly band. And I have a couple circles here, and they're kind of what was in my stash. This one was in my stash, and I'm like, okay. So it's just it's one of the circles from Stylish Shapes. It's the circle that is about 1 3/4 across, maybe a little less. And I've just hit it with that pecan pie, my blending brush, and I've speckled it. And then this piece here, I'm like, this isn't quite big enough. And then I'm like, oh, it should be this one. And then I threw that down and I'm like, oh, layer them. That's what we're going to do. So this one here is Basic Beige, and this is Spotlight on Nature. I don't typically blend a whole bunch of different die sets, but they're scraps on the desk. And so because they're scraps on my desk, I'm using them up. So that's what we're doing here. So pardon the blending of, or the mashing up of multiple pieces. All right, so this one, I want my pecan pie, because I'm going to distress this one, or just kind of give it that aged look that we've been doing all day today, just because it looks a little bit more finished. I am going to splatter it. I'm aiming for the edges. It's not going to show too much, but I do want some of that just to tie it together. And it looks like I did this one in the brown and the mossy meadow. Okay, there's that. So now these two will layer, and the cool thing is it's kind of a repetition of these layers that are inside here. Okay, so as you can see, this is we're just going for dead center here, but we'll get some asymmetry going here in just a minute, if you know what I mean, Vern. Okay, so this is here. I have one of these left, and so hello, we're going to play with that right in here. We're going to just kind of bring this pattern from the inside right to the front. So the reason I'm not measuring it is because I don't know exactly how big because I want it to stretch across, but it doesn't fit all the way across. So I'm just going to kind of go like this, turn it over, make a little pencil mark here, and that's where I'm going to cut it. Sometimes you just have to not worry about measurements and just do an organic cut like this and go for it. Okay, so here's this. And now it's going to need the same treatment. So I'm going to go ahead and do this just right on the edges like I did the sun, the word sun. We'll just distress this way. Okay. Now we'll glue it to our belly band. And things are coming together. I love it. Okay, so let's put these elements together. These are going to be for the front here, but I have one more piece that I want for the front. And if you remember, in the DSP, there's a whole 2 pieces of fish, and they are so cool. They're facing different directions. They're in different positions. They're different colors. They're just really, really cool. So I've got a fish here, and I also have, this was scrap on my desk. It's a piece, it's even just a partial piece of early espresso linen thread. And they're not even the same lengths here, so we'll just kind of even up. So this card is kind of like, okay, I'm gonna use these scraps up. So there is that. And then I have a couple buoys that I want for the front of this card. And so here's one buoy. And I chose this one, picking up the yellows in the life preservers. And I have one more buoy. Here it is. And this one's green, okay? So these are the elements that will finish up my belly band. So let's do this. I'm going to glue this piece. So I'm just putting my glue right on the belly band. And now just center. You don't have to worry because this can slide up and down, right? But just get it centered. And now we're going to take all of this centered stuff and add some asymmetry to make this a little bit more interesting. Okay, so there's that layer. And we'll add this layer as well. Look at all this glue. Don't worry, I've got dimensionals coming. This is a nice layer here. That stylish shapes with that spotlight on nature. Those blend well together. Okay, my fish. Fish out of water. He's going to kind of come up right in through here. So we'll just glue him on. Okay, there's that. And sun is going to go on with a dimensional. Actually, I'm going to hold off on the dimensionals. And let me tell you why. Because I need to put this on first. And then when I put this on, I'm going to straddle the knot of the linen thread here. So glue dot on the knot. I've lost my glue dots. Holy moly. I don't understand. How do things disappear? I pretty much, because I didn't put it back in the right spot. Close, but not in the right spot. Okay, so I'm going to put this on, glue dot, right? And this is going to kind of sit like right about there, okay? So it's not centered, it's off to the side just a little bit. And now I can put, I'm going to put 2 minis kind of surrounding that knot. And it won't be colliding, if you know what I mean. Okay? So I'm kind of just coming in and around that. And so this is just going to kind of come right in here. And then the word wonderful will come across. And I might switch the angle of the word sun. I have to kind of decide. See, now this comes gushing out. Okay, so just get some glue on this. Oh, come on. Sometimes I sit here and have to wait for this glue to move. Yeah, they are. They come in and they hide your stuff. I agree, Jacqueline. Mean old elves. Okay, so I'm just going to add the wonderful across here. Wonderful sun. And then a couple of the buoys are just going to kind of hang right in here. So we have some fun asymmetry happening here. So I think, though, that I am going to switch this to the other direction. Can she do it? I'm just going to flip-flop it this way. Yes, that's better. And now I'll just reach these in and I'll glue them in. Now you could cut the center of that out, but enough of it's hiding that I don't need to. Okay, let's get this one, a little glue on it. I want to know why, Jacqueline, those elves never come in and like do the cleaning. If you know what I mean. And I think I'll lift this out and have this come on top. Okay, so belly band is done. And this is kind of nice. Kind of a fun look for a guy. So there's my belly band. All right. And you can set it higher if you want, do whatever. So let's just pull this off and do a little bit more decor here. So we're not going to do a ton. I have some more pieces that I have fussy cut that will go in here, along with, here's a piece from the paper pumpkin kit. We're going to stamp this with Wonderful Sun, and it's going to say older, wiser, better, because it's going to be a birthday card. Let's see. Older, wiser, better. And I'm going to stamp it with the Peaceful Pine. I could also stamp with Early Espresso, but I didn't bring that. So, okay. So I'm just going to do this kind of off towards the right just a little bit. I'm going to offset just a little, not a lot. Older, wiser, better. Nice. I like that. And I am going to add this with dimensionals. Okay, we'll just kind of work this across. It's kind of a big piece, a long piece. Okay, right here. And I'm just going to stretch that right across the bottom here and center that. Now, the elements that I have that I want to include in this layer, look at that fish. That's another cool fish. We'll distress these in just a bit here. We'll age them. And look at this life jacket. Now, this life jacket, I have gone in and cleared out those, pieces, but it's not, I used a hole punch to get into that one. But you guys, I just cut. Like, don't do it right in the middle, but cut right on a darker edge and then go in there and clean it up. You can't even tell. If I didn't pull these apart, you wouldn't even known that I went in there and clipped stuff out. Okay, let's get some age going on these. Where's that blending brush? Here it is. So on the fish and on this life jacket rather, those are done. And you know what? I didn't do this. So I'm just going to come in here and do it right now. Okay, I should probably put a piece of paper under there, but just giving it a little. Should have done it earlier. Hey, Marlene. All right, there's that. And let's add these two pieces here. So this is going to be easy. We're just going to do a life jacket here and a fish right in here just to kind of enhance this. So I'm going to put a dimensional like right about here. And this is going to hold this life jacket rather. I'm going to do a little bit of glue. I put the glue where I didn't need it. So there's that, and now I can kind of add my fish in here or figure out how far I want it to go. Maybe I move this over just a skosh. Yeah, that's better. Gives me just a little bit more wiggle space in here. And so I can put a mini right about there. I was kind of watching where this was going to go, where it was going to land. Okay, so there's some fish action. Let's go ahead. We're on this layer. Let's get it a little bit of splatter. just to increase that kind of aged look. It kind of has like a vintage postcard vibe to me, all of this look. There's that. And as I was splattering, I was kind of splattering in like a curve, like a C shape direction there. And now we'll just give this a zhuzh. Maybe even give this guy a little something, something, if you know what I mean. All right, so there's that layer. So we have our belly band, okay? And then we open up and we're gonna take care of this layer right here. And so I have, look at all these pieces. Whew, I don't even know if I'm gonna use all these, but let's look what I have. I've got some life, these are like fishing vests, a life jacket, more fish, and here's more of the cattails that I've been stamping. So you don't need to see me do that again. This is basic beige. This is going to be the inside of my card. And it's going to set right in this last inside center spot. This is where it's going to go. And this is like 3 7/8 by 5 7/8. So it's not 4 by 6. It's a little smaller so that it fits in that area with ease without having to do a bunch of trimming. And so I'm just going to go ahead and glue this in right now. Okay. It's kind of hard to see where my edges are. I almost have to fold them up just so I can tell what I got going. If you know what I mean, Vern. Okay. There's that. And now my pieces are going to come down here in this corner. So I need to do a little stamping here. Let's do a happy birthday on this. And we'll stamp with the Peaceful Pine. Just carry that color all throughout. And here's happy birthday. I have lots of happy birthday cards now. Now I'm going to stamp this with the curves up this time. The curves are up. I'm stamped towards the top. Let that dry for just a second before I come in and age it like we've been doing everything else. Okay. Da, 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 da. There's that. And now let's bring in our piece and decorate. And so this piece is going to come in here, and I don't think I'm going to use all these pieces. I am going to use this fish just because I love the curled tail. I just think it adds great movement. And I'm going to do a vest, or that's a life preserver or life jacket. And let's do this yellow one. Here's a yellow one. We're going to do this one. So this is going to kind of come in here. We're just going to kind of group these down here in the left, or sorry, the right corner, to kind of give, you know, this had some place to shine, if you know what I mean. Okay, I wish I had done this just a little bit higher, but note to self, if you make one, kind of come up a little bit higher, and I'll show you why in just a second. Okay, so I have these, and so I'm going to go ahead and tuck these in here. So I'm going to have one there, and we'll have one kind of up in here. Maybe something like that. So once I kind of see where I really want things, I'm going to glue all of these since it's to the inside. Holy moly. The sun just went behind some clouds and it got so dark in here all of a sudden. Like, I can barely see. I mean, it's like they turned the lights out on me. All right. So let's layer this piece. Just have some fun making stuff, you know? And we'll add the yellow vest, fishing vest. Right about here. Perfect. We'll add the green. I love all these colors. They're just cool together, you know? They just all look really good. There's that. And then we'll do this last little fish here. And this will be just kind of a fun little vignette. For the inside of this card. And then I had this one up in here, but, well, I could actually swing it out this direction too. But sometimes you just don't need it, if you know what I mean. I'm going to keep it out. It could tuck here or it could save for another project. Let's finish the inside as I've been finishing all the other pieces. Let's see. I need my adhesive remover because I've got some glue right there. I love adhesive removers and I have it on my hands. All right. So now the good thing about kind of, you know, having all of these being aged with a little bit of brushing and blending of ink and a little splattering is if you wanted to give a collection of cards to somebody, it all has a bit of a, it has a cohesive feel. And so I like that when giving a gift like this. Okay, let's just get a little bit of this going and this, and we'll put the belly band back on. Same thing, I'm going to get this fish gets a little too. Okay, so here is my fun fold, and that kind of tucks up in there. And so this, I could maybe move it just a little bit higher. Move it a little higher. I needed to be more cautious about where this was going. So if this were up a little higher, this would help hide what's right there. But it's okay. So just be aware of what you've got going. I was forgetting, and I was just like in drive real fast mode. I mean, if that's kind of going that way, you can almost add another fish kind of right in here. Maybe a fish that's facing the other direction. I might look for one and do that because this one upside down looks dead. But then it might tie into that just a little bit more. So anyway, there you have it, folks. We have some fun guide cards, really. I'm going to call this a guide card class. Let's look and do a real quick review of what we've got going here. We have our fancy fold. It's a 4x6. Just have some fun, fancy layers here. I could have added the birds in here. I don't know why I didn't. A gift card holder right there. There's that gift card. There will be photos of all of these later today here in on my page. We have another simple thanks card. You know, it's not super simple, but I mean, it's not got some crazy, crazy stuff. We're just layering the different elements. We have a fun kind of a latch card that as you pull this one open, it allows you to then open the card. So it's just kind of fun to have that sort of a detail. And we've explored just repositioning the bits and pieces that they have in the kit. So those are some cards. Now, I have one more card to share with you. And you're like, one more card? That's a whole stack. So this is a fold back card. I originally did it and it turned out so ugly. I had to take it apart and redo it. So this fold back, there's a little reveal there. I love the addition of the stamping. And then, you know, just kind of a fun birthday card for a guy. Now, this card here, I'm not going to show you everything. I'll give you a little sneak look. This is from PPX. This one here is from Paper Pumpkin Creatives. This one here is Beyond Paper Pumpkin. And this last one is Global Ink Collective. You guys, these are all from tutorials that you can purchase them. If you're part of my team, you get them for free. This right here represents more than 50 projects. So, and I've teamed up with different artisans around the world for this particular one, and same with the Beyond Paper Pumpkin. I have all kinds of stuff. Ask me, I will help you find it, and because I've got lots and lots of inspiration in places you might not even realize it's there. Join a class, become part of the Backstage Pass, and, you know, see some free classes and just have fun in that community. Join along with Paper Pumpkin and you can get a whole bunch of extra tutorials. All right. I do belong to so many groups. But you know what? A lot of us cross, you know, they mix and match. But I'm so grateful for each of you for being here. And I will catch you next month for another Upstyle class. And that will be the Sparkling Celebrations. All right. That's coming on June 4th. So I'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.